Hello out there. Welcome to the No Shit Cast. I'm your host, Matt Frazier. Woo, thanks for joining us on our journey into the Internet College of Infinite Knowledge. My co-host for this evening's festivities is none other than the great wizard of historical knowledge himself, Mr. Eric D. Smith. How are you tonight, Mr. Smith?
Man, I'm feeling loved and good and healthy and very, very happy.
You're like fucking glowing on me over there, man?
Happy behind the mask. But really.
It's like the Joker or something over there, right?
No, it's a better happy.
It's a better happy? It's not a crazy happy?
No, it's like feeling loved.
Oh. I don't know.
And happy.
Murderous happy is good sometimes.
Sometimes, but that's not where I'm at.
Not where you're at. All right, Flower Child tonight.
I've got some jet and some rose quartz here.
Oh my God, you have crystals and stones?
Yeah, and like a little fidget ring here. I'm all...
Fuck, you must be in love, huh?
I'm all metaphysicaled out.
Wow, I guess. Do I get some of that? Does that juju...
Just suck it up.
Just fucking wall. Huh? We'll see what happens, man.
Yep. You can charge your phone with the humidity that's coming off of my love.
Oh, my God. That's some moist love.
Yeah. It's just Ohio.
Oh, all right, man.
It's muskrat love.
So, our enigmatic or clandestine sort of here again, gone and back again fan and commentator on the show, Mr. Dan W., is back.
Oh,
yeah, he popped back in. Yeah, he's probably, I don't know what he does. Like he disappears. He'll be like,
he plays a bass guitar.
He does that, and he knows a lot about physics.
Yep.
And
he
he disappears
for
mysterious periods of time, and then comes back. So whatever clandestine thing he's off, I don't know. I don't know if any of this is true. I just make this all up in my head, right? But I just get this impression that he's off, working on some sort of thing that it's going to save the world or something. And then he comes back and tells us how to pronounce shit and things we're saying wrong and giving me definitions on words I don't understand and things. So.
I'm glad to have him back.
Yeah. No, he's cool. So welcome back, Dan. I'm glad
yes.
you made it back. Looking forward to more of your critique.
I'm rarely on YouTube, so I don't know what's going on most of the time.
You don't get it unless I send it to you.
No, that's right. Yeah, and I don't.
Actually, let me put it this way. There's no point in ever, as often as he says send him messages, he ain't going to look at them. He doesn't. You don't even watch the shows, man.
No, I was amazed the other day when I seen there was like a graphic up here.
You didn't know that?
I had no idea. I was like shocked. I'm like, oh my God, look, there's Galbeke Tepe. Look at that. It's right. That's really cool, man. I was like, okay, cool. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's not there right now.
Okay.
It'll be up there later. I put it. It comes up when the articles come up. It's very magical. Yeah. It's amazing what we can do with technology these days, Mr. Smith.
It was very fancy.
It was.
I liked it.
All right.
I've heard good things about the bite-sized clips that you've been producing.
Yeah, that's actually been working really, really well, man. I was shocked at how much people like those.
That's how I hear about the show. Someone says, "Hey,
oh, by the way,
I really like the." Oh, that's going. Okay, yeah, I'll let them know.
I'm glad you keep me informed, Mr. Smith. It's good stuff.
I know you like to hear what they say.
I do. I do like the feedback. I don't know. I'm always worried when someone's like, if you don't want to put it out there, hey, tell us what you like and tell us what you don't like. Because boy, people are more, willing to tell you what they don't like, and I don't care. So that's why I shouldn't ask that question. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, but I don't know what I don't know how to do anything other than this. Do you?
I'm doing like 5% of what you're doing or less.
Oh,
like I'm showing up. Like, okay, in case since people don't know, I'm pretty much showing up, sitting in the chair, and he like does all this stuff, and he says go. And this is where we're at. and then I don't know anything until I come back again.
Ta-da!
No prep, no nothing.
Good team meeting, buddy. That's good stuff.
I'm easy to please, though, aren't I?
Absolutely, yeah. It's not difficult. You're not a prima donna in any way, shape, or form. You're like, do I get to sit and talk into the mic right now? And I'm like, yeah, go. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. Right on.
It's really difficult.
Yeah.
I just wind you up and then wait for fucking interesting shit to come flying out of your face.
Some of that's prevented now.
Well, that's not the interesting shit I want to have flying out of your face. I'm trying to think if there's any other pre-show stuff we needed to go over. What do you got?
Say a shout out to Christian and Dan W. and Reed and Mike and Susan and Cassie. And there's a lot of people now that regularly are listening.
Yeah, it's starting to become like an award speech of some sort. I want to thank my mom and my dad.
Everybody. We just want you to speak up so that we can add more names.
Yeah.
to a shout out. We'll just have a show that's just shout outs.
We'll just do the whole show. Yeah. I'll just run the credits of names up here in the graphic. It'll just
shout out to Cincinnatus because he was awesome and gave up power to Rome when he was the dictator.
And gave
just people.
And gave us shit to talk about, right?
Anybody. Shout out to Mudhouse Manor.
I'm wearing the Miyagi-Do karate t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sporting that tonight.
With the bonsai tree.
With the bonsai.
Yeah.
Danielson. And I'm doing it kind of because I just read that season 3 of Cobra Kai is moving to Netflix. So,
ooh, why have Netflix?
Because I have Netflix.
Yeah, but I mean, is it still a YouTube thing?
It's no longer going to be a YouTube thing. It's going to move to Netflix. Now, what I don't know is if they're going to get access also to seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping, because I was too cheap to get the freaking membership. So I haven't seen like any of season 2. And I hear it's pretty amazing too. Right. We watched those and talked about it. Cobra Kai on the show.
Yeah.
So, I'm very excited about that's moving over to Netflix now, so that I'm hoping I can get to see them all now. So,
and I have just
purple. It's like a what do you call that? Theater shirt or something, right? Theater club from. Don't hit the camera. Who's afraid of the art of noise? Oh, you went to a concert. That's a concert tee?
No. I just bought it off the internet.
Oh, I just wanted it.
Yeah. I always want a Art of Noise t-shirt. Not many people listen to the Art of Noise, but I like them.
Yeah, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know that many people have the Art of Noise t-shirts either.
Yeah. Who's Afraid of the Art of Noise? That was their second album.
So that's a frame of reference. What would somebody who wanted to listen to the Art of Noise would be a good song for them to listen to first?
That's a hard question.
What's their most popular song then, as far as
probably Moments in Love.
Okay. So check out Moments in Love.
Yeah, Moments in Love or Close to the Edge, one of the two.
Yeah, because asking you to recommend a song is not necessarily a good...
Yeah, you might have an experience.
You tend to pull some obscure fucking tracks sometimes.
Well, early on, they were represented by doing a lot of music with the Fairlight CMI, which was
a synthesizer keyboard.
One of the first samplers.
Oh, okay. I was completely wrong. Good.
No. It's like a synthesizer. It's just that they take recordings of sounds and then put it into the keyboard and make music.
And then it's triggered.
Yeah, essentially. They did a lot of that. So it was different than things like Kraftwerk or Gary Newman because it had a different feel, right? And the Fairlight keyboard itself has its own sound that's really distinctive.
Okay.
And so early on, they made a lot of those kind of things, and it's kind of harsh and industrial sounding. But then later on, when they did The Seduction of Claude Debussy, they had like opera singers and orchestras. Yeah,
because I've seen like live shows that on YouTube from them and stuff, and it's quite the production, right?
Yeah, it sounds really good. It's really tight. It's really interesting, very heady.
Yeah.
And it goes from like weird, clunky industrial kind of stuff to really sophisticated sort of things.
It's funny. Kenny Schaefer and I were going back and forth like at some point, like we do. from Kenny from Thought Dump. Mm-hmm. And we were sending Thought Dump podcast. Everyone, check it out.
Yeah.
We were sending back and forth YouTube videos of music, and it was just getting more and more progressive type of music, right? So I finally ended up sending him the band Saga, S-A-G-E, Saga, with the song Tonight We're on the Loose, whatever. And which is the sort of my step into that kind of really, it's by today's standards, I don't even know if you can consider it progressive rock, but I think it still kind of is. And his response to me was, boy, that's a lot of treble. And then he said something like, I'll give it a listen. And then he never said anything else about it. So it was like,
end of game.
because of how much wider music just in general is today. Like you played me that Duran Duran album that they had done. And it's so razor fucking sharp, that whole album, every track, every beat, everything. It's surreally perfect.
Yeah, it is really weird in that way. Yeah. And
I don't know, man. It's what I can't say though is that it feels warm in any way. It's absolute perfection. It's a razor blade. It's so perfect.
On that same thread, I suggested Art of Noise to Kenny too. I suggested the album and What Have You Done With My Body, God.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's the name of the album.
Did he respond?
He said he'll check that out. That's the last I heard. I heard even less. Yeah, and rightfully so.
He's such a nice guy. That's his way of going. There ain't no fucking way in hell I'm listening to this.
Yeah, well, I think he was looking for different things. That was really different. That was like 5 discs of noise, essentially.
Yeah. I think he asked for that one time on Facebook or something. It was like, give me something to listen to.
Yeah.
And I was like, the Beatles anthology or something like that, I think.
Somebody went with Rush. Somebody went with Beatles.
Well, I definitely probably could have said he should listen to Rush. I could see that, too. I could have been me. But anyway, yeah, so fuck you, Kenny.
Let me know what you think of that album. That 5-disc album.
Anyway. He'll get a kick out of that. Love you, Kenny.
Yeah.
Do you want to do any articles?
No.
All right. What else are we going to talk about?
I don't know. We better do an article.
What do you think of the new setup?
I like it. I liked it when I seen the last episode that I looked at. I didn't watch.
You mean the only episode you've ever looked at?
Possibly.
What possessed you to finally watch an episode or was it because it was in a clip?
No, I wanted to see what I looked like in a mask. I didn't know what it would look like, and I was just curious because I had the sunglasses on, and the mask, and I didn't have the headphones on.
Yeah.
So it was some weird, bizarre look, and I'm like, I wonder what that looked like, because after like 15 minutes, I forgot about all of it.
Yeah, my wife wanted to make sure I told you that she's very, very. Thanks you very, very much for willing to participate in the masking up and all that kind of stuff. So after she watched the last show, and then she also remarked on your sunglasses. I'm like, aren't they cool? And she's like, it doesn't surprise me. Whatever, it's fucking Eric.
I am completely contained in any area that can.
You should start wearing costumes, man.
Oh yeah,
you come in in like a fucking Chewbacca outfit or something.
I got my pajamas on tonight.
Basically, yeah, you looked you got your like slippers. And everything.
I'm just gonna go home and
like, fuck, dude. Well, the good news is that it's the beginning of a 3-day holiday weekend.
Yes. Oh man, that's really
coming
nice.
up, right?
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah.
We're all kind of getting I'm getting a weld. Dude, I'm beat. Wow, we've been going hard right here lately.
I got a little cookout planned.
Oh, well, good for you. That's right. Yeah.
Cookout, yeah. My son and a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And all that.
Good friend.
Yep.
I don't think we're going to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good after all you've done here lately.
I'm looking forward to. I'm going to be talking with Daryl Montgomery Hell Saturday.
Yeah,
and so he's going to be on the show. Like we're going to start the recording of that like 10 a.m. or something Saturday. But so that's my big highlight for the weekend. I gotta get this edited and stuff put out. But that's my big highlight is I'm going to get the chance to
I pretty much
Sit
trashed
down.
all my weekends. Haven't been on a weekend show in a really long time.
I know, you fuck.
I know. I got my son one weekend.
I know, and you got a life and all that
Yeah.
kind of shit. I get it.
I got him this weekend. So. I love him. He's 15.
If I wanted you to have a life, I'd have issued you one, soldier. I'm just saying.
This
No,
is
that's
my
cool,
life.
man.
There's no life like it.
Shouldn't be making fun of Marines. They're really good at shooting people at long ranges, you know, like
The worst Marine could probably kick my butt.
all right.
At 50, I'm struggling. It was hot today. It was like 91. I'm like out there, like in the sun, like trying to get my 2-mile walk in. And I did. Yeah.
Just saw heavy air.
It was cramps in the legs.
Yeah.
Like I was good with the breathing.
Gotta make sure you drink them a lot of water.
I brought
bro.
some with me that time.
Yeah, it's chug that shit. That'll help with that. Yeah.
It was all good. It ended up being, I can't, it went really fast. And I tried to stop and talk with a rabbit. And it listened, but it didn't say anything back.
Was it like smoking a hookah?
yeah, I took some psilocybin before the walk.
At a little door?
No. It was they're remarkably docile out there. Like when you go out and you walk, like literally, it was about from here to where that camera is. So which is like what, 5 feet?
Yeah.
And just standing
They just
there.
sat there.
Yeah, and I'm like talking. Remember I showed you that one film
Yeah.
of that one, and this time I just sat and just was like talking to it because I got about 2/3 of the way into the walk, right, which is really just warm up, right? That's the part that hurts after the first mile. It doesn't really hurt at all, right?
And you get them endorphins and
Yes.
stuff starting to crank.
So I hadn't quite crested that yet, and a damn bug went down my throat, and I spent the rest of the walk pretty much hacking out. The whole time, man. And I was
It's
doing
probably
that.
some real powdery, mothy fucking thing too.
So yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, man, it really was. And like in the humid, it was like, and I was doing that when I was walking by the rabbit, and it was just sitting there. Like I couldn't
Like,
believe
what
it.
the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, I'm like hacking. It's just like what I thought it would run away because I was hacking.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I thought they were only there because I was being quiet, but. Nevertheless, that was the two main wilderness encounters on my journey.
You and nature, not so good.
No, it was terrible. God, and they got my
Well, I'm really glad you're doing stuff to improve your health.
Yeah.
Like,
it got my
good for you.
testosterone up though. I think that's why the rest of the walk was like
you were like attacked.
dying.
Yeah. Nature
Dying.
just coming after you.
Ugh.
And then the docile rabbit and the psilocybin in the little door.
And it was over with before I knew it.
You had said that, by the way, before I cut you off, is there any other hilarities that you'd like to fucking share? Before?
Dude, every 3 hours is a hilarity.
I know. It's wonderful, isn't it?
It is. There's so much stuff happened at work, I couldn't even begin to talk about it. I know I talked with one guy on the phone, and he says, I ain't wearing no mask. You have all the germs that you have, you cough out and breathe it right back in and reinfect yourself. And any doctors are saying that. And I'm like, what doctors are saying that?
Which doctors are saying
Which doctors,
that?
yeah. Like, Jesus. Like, first of all, if you're already infected.
Yeah. Yeah, could you stop spewing it on everybody else,
Well,
please?
it doesn't matter if you're breathing it back in. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're already infected.
You're already infected, you're infected.
Yeah. It was
Look,
fun.
it's I can't never mind. Go ahead.
Yep. Yeah.
I just can't. I can't, dude. I can't. I get so fucking spun up on this shit. And I'm fighting with people on fucking Facebook again. It's so goddamn toxic.
Yeah, it's not good for you.
Ugh. I can't do it.
You come out and take a walk with me instead if you want.
Oh no, I got other ways of relieving stress.
Okay.
And
There's
leave it at that.
rabbits.
There's rabbits. Great.
Chipmunks and rabbits.
And hookahs.
Ticulus.
Anyway,
Back to the article.
back to the article. So last show you had said that you wanted to make sure we did this one this time, so I'm putting it up in front of the deck
Yeah,
here.
man. Cryogenics.
Right? So this one comes from ZME Science. Scientists force mice into hibernation like state, open doors for suspended animation in humans.
You know what's funny about that sentence?
What's funny about that sentence?
Scientists force mice into hibernation-like state, right?
Yeah.
All I see is a scientist coming by and just blam.
It's like smacking it with a fucking big old Looney Tunes
hibernation-like state. It's not hibernation, but we can make them go to sleep. We can force them into sleep.
I've seen this Tom and Jerry episode.
Yeah, the scientists force mice into hibernation-like sleep. It's like, wait a minute, what? Blam. No, they're sleeping.
But the research suggests
yes,
that someday it may be possible to induce a suspended animation state in humans.
Oh, look, and there's an alien. That's what was in my head anyway.
That was great.
So was Sigourney Weaver.
That was one of the best movies ever.
Yeah,
ever made.
It's my favorite movie.
Alien, the first one.
Yeah,
it's good shit. Gave me nightmares as a child for a long fucking time. Suspended animation sounds like science fiction, but there are quite a few non-human animals that have the ability to enter in this low metabolic state, including mice. 2 studies have independently shown that the activation of certain neurons can induce a hibernation-like state in mice, hinting that the same might also be possible someday for humans. Hinting. Psst. Look over here.
Look at these neurons.
Hey, I got some neurons.
If you hit these neurons with a hammer.
I got the mots. The implications would be far-reaching, with applications ranging from clinical medicine to interstellar space travel. Thus, the picture.
Yeah, I bet that's up there.
It is now. Yeah. The problem is when you put your hands up there, you can't see your hands.
That's
though.
all right.
Like when I'm going to put my hand up, like it's going to disappear at some point here, and now look, it's back. It goes behind the screen. No matter how far forward I put it, it goes behind the screen. Anyway.
We're in TV land.
Well, hello in TV land.
We're in TV land. We're in the spirit world.
The ultimate slumber, Mr. Smith. Hibernation is essentially a resting state of deep sleep, during which the body's metabolic rate and temperature drop considerably. For instance, during hibernation, the gopher's body temperature will drop from its normal 37 degrees Celsius to almost 0 degrees Celsius. The heartbeat also becomes slow and irregular alongside a slowing breathing rate. Since the body's metabolic functions slow to a crawl, the hibernating animal can survive for extended periods of time, sometimes months, without having to ingest food. This is why hibernating animals like bears and squirrels consume copious amounts of calories in the months leading to the hibernation season. I do that every day. Anyway, however, true hibernation is actually very rare, occurring only in a few mammals and one bird species. What bird species hibernates? The porwell. It is like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Phalanoptilus anyway. Instead, most mammals that enter a hibernation-like state are actually in a torpor state. Torpor, torpor state. Anyway, torpor is a lighter version of hibernation, while it also involves lowering body temperature, breathing rate, heart rate, and metabolic rate. It is activated involuntarily when an animal senses certain environmental conditions. In contrast, truly hibernating animals can do so rather voluntarily, without having to be prompted by temperature or other external stimuli. And unlike hibernation, torpor lasts for short periods of time, sometimes just through the day or night, depending on the animal's feeding patterns. Okay, but where do we get to the part where we start fucking freezing humans, Mr. Smith?
Well,
I'm losing patience with this.
Probably got something to do with the neurons.
Would you think?
Wait, down that to right.
Okay, here's the study.
Past the 48 hours.
Yeah.
They go one down paragraph more. One more past that one. One.
The mice stayed in the
torpor. These experiments allowed.
Yeah, they were going to tell me what we don't care. These experiments allowed the scientists to map the circuits and neurons involved in the process. The same technique could be used in the future to induce torpor-like states in other animals, perhaps even humans.
There you go. That's
wait, that's what I want to find out. What the fuck did they do? In the first study, which was published in the journal Nature, the Japanese researchers genetically engineered mice so they could activate a set of neurons in the hypothalamus, known as Q neurons, by shining light at them. When these neurons were activated, the rodent's body temperature fell 10 degrees Celsius or more, and their pulse dropped considerably. as well as their metabolic rate and breathing rate. Okay, so they've had to genetically change something in the mice first. And then, so they made a hibernatable, I guess, what is that a word? Hibernate a mouse that's capable of hibernation because they fucking altered its DNA.
Well, maybe. They didn't say why they did it, but it does sound that way.
The mice stayed in the torpor state for more than 48 hours. Once they returned to their normal waking state, the rodents behaved normally with no visible signs of physical harm. The researchers in Japan repeated the experiment in rats with similar results.
They didn't say they were genetic rats.
Well, that's what they said up here. They said that they genetically modified the mice, so I would imagine it would be the same on the rats, right?
I don't know.
All right, so they go in and they fucking tweak these mice.
Hit so that neurons with light,
and to genetically modify them, hit some neurons with light, and the mice go sleepy, go night night.
Okay, so maybe we could.
That was fucking underwhelming.
I don't know. Maybe if we breed some of those Q neurons within ourselves with things like CRISPR, then we could activate by taking an injection with CRISPR a hibernation state.
Yeah,
maybe. I mean, because if they genetically altered the mice, that's what CRISPR would be for. And if basically...
Exactly, yeah.
So you just put those receptors in, the Q neurons, and
right.
Then maybe you could activate them and go into a hibernated sleep. I don't know.
And that'd be great if you had some sort of like terminal disease or something like that, and there was a way they could just put you on ice until they figure out a cure for it.
Yeah, and they have people that are frozen today. They've frozen them in the best methods that they have, and they're hoping that technology will find a way to thaw them out.
Thaw them out without fucking killing them in the process?
Yeah, because the main thing is that normally when you freeze, the liquid in you expands and it breaks the cells. Like it makes your cells turn into mush, essentially.
Yeah, the ice... the water and stuff. Yeah, it's not good.
so what we've done with people today is we've taken all of that out, the blood and the plasma and that sort of thing, and we've pumped in another solution.
Oh yeah,
that's less likely to freeze.
You mean to put them into hibernation?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hoping that there's a way that they'll be able to revive them later.
Who knows though, man? Nanobots and all that crazy shit. Fucking Elon Musk will do something and boom. He'll create the fucking Musk Oven 9000 and then sell it on eBay, and it also is a flamethrower or some shit.
And can get internet.
Yeah, and you get free high speed internet.
Free internet with every purchase.
Looks like we're on a ZME science kick tonight, Mr. Smith.
All right.
But also from them, a Norway couple found a Viking grave under the floor of their house. And it says, ugh, don't you just hate it when that happens? You wouldn't.
No.
You'd be like fucking happy as a pig in a Norwegian Viking grave.
Rooting around for swords and bracelets.
This is so cool. A couple in northern Norway, we were working on their floor to install new insulation when they came across something unusual, a Viking axe.
Hey, honey, did you leave this axe here? No.
Is this your axe? Initially, the couple found a glass bead, and they weren't sure what they had come across. There's no T in that word. Quote, it wasn't until later that we realized what it could be. Marion Christensen, I'm going with it, from Sivag near Bodo, told Norway's state broadcaster NRK of the find. Quote, first we thought it was the wheel of a toy car. So the couple called archaeologists who confirmed that the artifacts were Viking age. Archaeologist Martinus Holglid from the Nordland County government concluded that the couple's house was actually built on a Viking grave.
Oh, and they had no problems with ghosts prior to this.
I wonder, was it haunted and did...
I'm guessing no.
Like poltergeist level shit, like demons coming out of the swimming pool. Of course, they're in Norway. They probably don't have a swimming pool.
Maybe
they have an ice skating rink or some shit. Quote, it was found under stones that probably represent a cairn, however you say that.
Cairn.
I don't know why it's Scottish all of a sudden. We found an axe dated from between 950 AD and 1050 AD. Yeah. and a bead of dark blue glass, also of the late Viking period, he told the local. Christensen's grandfather purchased the house in 1914, but no one in the family knew anything about a Viking grave. In fact, this type of discovery is rare. It's not clear if the house was knowingly built on top of the grave and knowledge of this was lost, or if no one knew about it in the first place.
Call Uncle Jed. See if he knows anything about a Viking grave.
Did anybody come visit you around Christmas? The artifacts have already been sent to Tromsø Museum, and a team of archaeologists were in the couple's house on Tuesday digging further. Ultimately, the couple will be able to install the new insulation in their floor. They might even get something for their trouble. Quote, I've never heard of anything like that, and I've been in business for nearly 30 years, said Hoglig. I don't know. They did a magnificent job. They reported it to us as soon as they got the suspicion that it actually was something old. I guess they will get some reward. That is normal in Norway, that people that find old artifacts get a reward from the state.
Okay.
But I imagine they got to turn it over to the state.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So they're like, here's a paltry pittance. Do the patriotic duty and give us this artifact.
Not much of a picture, is it?
Top men. Right?
Who? Top men.
And then it's just crated away into a warehouse.
Bum, bum.
I heard this fascinating, I'm trying to think what the guy's name is. Michael Rood, I think. It's called A Rude Awakening. You can look this up on YouTube. And this guy is he's got these really, really interesting sort of theories on things like religion and its Christianity's connection to Judaism and stuff. And when I say interesting, I mean interesting. But he's got this whole thing on the Ark of the Covenant and the temple artifacts and Joshua's grotto, I think, and like how all this stuff's connected together, and the way that the temple pillars of the temple worked, and that there was a connection to like Egypt and trapdoors. It was all this like wild. It's fucking fascinating. I don't know if any of it's true, but it's really interesting to watch, and see how he's got this theory of where all of these artifacts, the temple artifacts from the temple in Israel actually are. Anyway, you should check it out sometime.
You mean like where they are currently?
Currently, yeah.
Okay, because like the popular belief is like generally either under the temple or in Ethiopia.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe. I don't even know if it still exists anymore. I mean, if it was made out of gold, I could see it, like we've talked about how temples are generally built on top of other people's holy sites and these kinds of things. I would imagine that those temple artifacts would have, how many times was Israel sacked?
Twice, majorly.
Major sacks,
First was
right? Yeah.
by Babylon, second by Rome.
Yeah. So you would either take those as the treasures of war, but if you were trying to crush that religion, kind of like what they did with Khufu or whoever it was.
Oh well, yeah.
You would think they would just destroy any and all artifacts associated, because they basically took the temple straight to the bedrock, right? I mean, they tore it completely down.
Yeah, the academic view is that the Romans took it,
and
there's actually murals of the Romans carrying like menorahs and stuff like that, and so a lot of people say the Colosseum was built on the treasures of the temple. Okay. Which is probably true.
Which means they probably melted it all down or whatever, and it's gone now.
However, they speculate that they didn't get the Ark of the Covenant because it was a very holy artifact, and there would have probably been some record of that we would have found either in written form as a list of what was got.
Especially with the Romans, because we have records of like everything.
They're
very
known as
detailed.
a race of lawyers.
Yeah.
So we would have probably known if they would have got that, but what they think happened was that the rabbis took it south down toward Numidia, and and kept it down there. And another reason there's a lot of evidence that points to that. The other theory is they hid it somewhere below the temple that the in the rock that it was built upon. And there's even been
that's sort of the theory Michael Rood has about it being on, like it went through some like weird Indiana Jones cantilevered elevator system, and then they were able to go through this tunnel and basically hide it in Jeremiah's grotto or something.
Yes,
like
there
that.
was a archaeologist that they chased out of Israel that barely escaped with his life, that broke into the area under the temple. Like he dug in, and they caught him before he got so far, and they chased him out. But you know, the Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is probably the most likely, right? As opposed to having an elaborate method of hiding this, which would assume that they had foreknowledge that there was going to be some kind of a siege anyways. They speared it down to Numidia. Now, today in Ethiopia, which is where that's at today, every church has a little miniature ark in it, right? And the Ethiopian people are the people that have the DNA that identify them as the 12th tribe. So there's DNA evidence that a lot of Jewish people went down to Numidia at a particular point in time around the second siege. There's evidence of this in the Ethiopian people today, and there's this other evidence, of course, with the little miniature ark in all of their churches, and they have an area that for the last dozen years, tens of years, I don't even know how long, a really long time, at least like 20 some years or more, there's been this area that's been under constant guard, military guard, and fenced off, that's supposed to contain the ark, and they won't let nobody in there. And it's like under armed guard all the time.
Right.
And there's one guy that they have to go in, and he spends his life in there, essentially. That's what the story is, at least.
I think I've seen that on like some National Geographic specials and stuff like that, where they're hunting the Ark of the Covenant or whatever, and they go to Ethiopia.
Now, my guess is that you're still right. At some point in time, it's been taken apart and refurbished or something, or done something with, or it's fallen apart, right? Because it is a construct, and it had to make it all the way down there, and so it might not be in very good repair.
Right.
It might actually just be more like relics, like pieces of it that they're actually guarding in there. And I wouldn't doubt that somehow, somewhere, someone had the ability or influence to get in there and verify that and be like, wow, it doesn't really matter, right? It's like a holy relic. But I don't know.
I just saw something where there's a tomb somewhere. I'm trying to think. So I'm just going to say I think it might have been like the tomb of St. Peter or something like this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the person's supposed to be in there. And it hasn't been opened in forever, right? So they were doing like a refurbishment. So as part of that, they had to open that box. And they decided while they did it, they were going to take like an inventory of it and everything. And they opened it up, and like people have been going in there and cutting the bones and taking chunks of it.
Yeah.
And there's basically like part of a hand bone left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And some cloth or something like that. It's literally been picked over.
And in
is what
case
they said,
anybody doesn't know, relics are genuinely pieces of a person. Their teeth, their bones, could be a hand. Even they'll take a hand and mummify it. But generally it's bones, teeth, that sort of thing. But sometimes blood if they can get it.
Right.
But basically, if a person was really holy in a religion, especially like a Catholic religion or one of its offshoots like Santeria, for instance, then the flesh has a lot of spiritual properties as a relic. And when people die, historically, there's been people that died, and right after they died, they started cutting them up and taking pieces of them.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That when I took my Reformation class, we talked about this. There was a couple of cases, but one was more famous than the other. And I can't remember the woman's name, but it was this lady, and she was considered to be a visionary, and it was fairly late in history too. when she died, they immediately started taking her hands off and feet.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was gruesome, dude. The way it was like, damn, but it was holy.
So that made it all okay.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Because they started pretty quick, man, like, quicker than zombies.
Like piranha or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that probably, anyway, I don't, in the name of holy.
I know, right? Hey, if it was a serial killer, then there would have been all the big brouhaha. Right. But fortunately, they were nuns.
It was Aunt Ida. So this is from the week. The whole week.
Oh.
Scientists made one small edit to human embryos. It had a lot of unintended consequences.
Under the subtitle, nope. the week, nope.
Nope. Funny. That's true. No. A human embryo editing experiment gone wrong has scientists warning against treading into the field altogether.
Damn, that must have been real bad.
It has to be bad. Yeah. I just watched the Family Guy where Stewie he took Brian's DNA and got himself pregnant in his Get Stewie the Baby Pregnant machine. Really bizarre episode, but the offspring were not well. And that's what the image is going through. It's like a mix between a human and a dog. And it was funny because throughout the episode, they just kept dying, like in the background, while they were like not even paying attention,
It's like watching The Fly with Jeff Goldblum in it.
Yeah. Help me. Anyway, to understand the role of a single gene in early human development, a team of scientists at the London-based Francis Crick Institute removed it from a set of 18 donated embryos. Even though the embryos were destroyed after just 14 days, that was enough time for the single edit to transform into where'd it fucking go?
That major unintended
quote major edit. Unintended edits 10 reports. I don't know what 10 is. Human gene editing is a taboo topic. The birth of 2 genetically modified babies in 2018 proved incredibly controversial, and editing embryos beyond experimentation is not allowed in the U.S. The scientists in London conducted a short-term research on a set of 25 donated embryos using the CRISPR technique to remove a gene from 18 of them. An analysis later revealed 10 of those edited embryos looked normal. Well, what's wrong with that? But the other 8 revealed, quote, abnormalities across a particular chromosome. 10 writes, of them, 4 contained inadvertent deletions or additions of DNA directly adjacent to the edited gene. The unintended edits exemplify the single biggest concern of gene editing, especially when it involves humans.
So were they unintended by process?
That's what it looks like.
Okay, so they're saying that they went with CRISPR to put a gene in, and somehow the genes on either side or one
are
side
also affected, inadvertently affected, right? But we've heard that there's CRISPR and then there's like CRISPR Prime, and that CRISPR was like using dynamite, and CRISPR Prime apparently was like using a scalpel. Like, was that big of a difference? So, to your point, good catch that what they're talking about may just be process related. And to Fyodor Urnov, a gene editing expert and professor of molecular and cell biology at the University of California, Berkeley, it sends a clear message, quote, this is a restraining order for all genome editors to stay the living daylights away from embryo editing. The results of the experiment were published in the preprint server BioRxiv, or however you say that shit.
BioRx4, I guess.
It's not. It's like RZiv.
Oh, is it?
And there's like SZiv. There's like, it's like a thing. And there's different versions. It's like TEDx, TED, what the fuck ever, which is yet to be peer reviewed and published in a medical journal. Okay.
Read more at 10, whatever that is. We were talking about
10. What is a 10? Well, that'd be 10.
Binary.
I would think, dude. Morse code. So more on the genetic modified front. This comes from USA Today. Fact check: genetically modified mosquitoes are cleared for release in the U.S.
You're clear to go.
The claim, a British biotech company called Oxitec, has permission to release genetically modified mosquitoes in Florida and Texas. The EPA approved an experimental use permit May 1st that allows Oxitec to release genetically modified mosquitoes in the Florida Keys and Harris County, Texas, where Houston is located. Listen, I have been stationed in the Florida Keys. I've been and a lot of my friends have been on NAS Key West, Naval Air Station Key West.
Lots of mosquitoes.
Them motherfuckers are already modified. Like, them bitches will carry you away. They're bad down there, man. I mean, it's brutal.
I like that they would put genetically modified mosquitoes into a pandemic environment, though.
What could go wrong?
I don't know. But it should be fun.
Could be.
That's how the zombie apocalypse started.
It's something like that, right? Or the embryos. To meet today's public health challenges head on, the nation needs to facilitate innovation and advance the science around new tools and approaches to better protect the health of all Americans, according to the EPA's news release. The permit, which lasts for 2 years, requires Oxitec to monitor and sample the mosquitoes population weekly. EPA has also maintained the right to cancel the permit at any point during the 24-month period in unforeseen or outcome occurrences, according to the news release. A few provisos, quid pro quos. Wait, why would a company create a new kind of mosquito? What purpose does it serve? I bet it wipes out other mosquitoes.
I bet.
Because didn't we did an article on it where it said it went really well in some place.
Yeah, it was Martha's Garden.
Or
what is it?
Martha's Vineyard.
In yeah.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, and it was a gene drive.
Okay.
And they were trying to convince the community to let them do it, but I think in the end they weren't allowed.
No. Yeah.
But there's another one.
But there's another one where they actually did it, and then we got news that it worked really well, and then we seen another article that said it didn't work for shit.
Yep.
It made the problem worse, and then we subsequently saw a later article that's like, no, it worked perfectly and dropped the population by bajillions and everybody.
That's that whole stat reading shit there, like how you can interpret data,
Yeah.
It worked.
Weird.
No, it didn't. Yeah, it was somewhere in Taiwan or Japan.
It was,
somewhere.
yeah. I want to say Asia, someplace, and it worked. So,
have you ever played Plague Incorporated?
No.
Have you ever played Pandemic?
No. Have I ever played Contagion? No. I like to shoot bitches in the face.
I got you.
My thing. Remember, like in the video game sense.
Right.
In the video games.
You need to make that a clip.
Oh yeah, Jesus!
Just a clip of you saying that.
I like to shoot bitches in the face. Remember a few years ago when people, especially pregnant women, were concerned about contracting the Zika virus?
Yeah, they were all afraid they're going to have babies with small heads.
Because that's what it did. Yeah. That was your takeaway, huh?
They were
little-headed babies.
Yeah, I don't want a little-headed baby.
Creepy as fuck, them little bastards.
It's the virus that could cause a birth defect called the microphthalmia.
Encephalitis?
No, microphthalmia. Microcephaly.
Where are you at?
Under development of
there
the
it
head
is.
and brain, according to the Centers for Disease Control. Yeah, it's a bad thing. We're making fun of a really bad thing. Sorry. Sorta. Well, diseases like Zika, dengue, chikungunya, and yellow fever are all carried by one type of mosquito, the Aedes aegypti.
Man, I'm glad I don't have to ever hear that I've got
Chikungunya. Chikungunya.
I don't know if I can survive that.
Hey, Dan, how the fuck do we pronounce this?
Yeah.
Oxitec claims it's Aedes aegypti, known as the OX5034. It's like a fucking fighter
Wow,
jet.
yeah, man.
It's like a piece of military equipment. We're about to release the OX5034. Mr. President, do we have your approval?
The mosquito government has some pretty nice aircraft.
I guess. Can drastically lower the wild populations of these specific mosquitoes. Here's how.
How it works.
Male mosquitoes don't bite. They feed on flower nectar. Basically, male mosquitoes are harmless to humans, but female mosquitoes use blood to grow their eggs, don't they all? Oxitec created a male mosquito with a special gene that prevents female offspring from surviving to adulthood. Wow.
It's like Logan's Run for mosquitoes.
The new males grow up, mate with more females, and over time, the number of Aedes aegypti declines.
Welcome to carousel mosquitoes.
Continual large-scale releases of these OX5034 GM males.
Wow, genetically.
These motherfuckers are all like ripped, dude. They're all like yoked and shit.
We are going to populate.
We're going to fuck them all. Should eventually cause the temporary collapse of a wild population, according to Oxitec. In Brazil, which suffered a Zika outbreak in 2015 and 2016, the company claims it's, quote, friendly. Well, now you know you should be afraid of it, because anytime a company names something like you had me at OX fucking 5034 death mosquito from hell, but as soon as you say it's friendly, I wonder what are you hiding?
Right. What they're hiding is if you get bit by it, you won't live to adulthood.
You'll become female, unless you already are, and then you won't live to
In which case you will become double female.
Yeah, double female. What is that?
I don't know.
Reduced population of Aedes aegypti by 89 to 96%. Look, in places like fucking Florida, that would be huge. Huge if you could actually do that without giving the world, I don't know, ass cancer or something in the process. Is there opposition to these genetically modified mosquitoes? In a word, yes. Oh, murder hornets. What a fucking letdown they were, huh?
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah. I saw memes. It was like, you can't just introduce a plot twist like that and then just fucking
let it go.
I'm like, have you ever seen Lost?
You're right.
Because they did that shit
constantly.
all the fucking time.
Yeah. It made you watch it because it was really good until you realized ultimately this was never going to be a payoff.
No, they were just making it up. Well, I mean, ultimately, I think the fans was the one that was because they were reading, from what I understand, like user groups and fan groups and stuff to see what fans thought was going on. And then if it was good enough, they were finding ways to weave that kind of shit actually into the storyline. So that's like a weird sort of laziness, right? Like they got this thing going and then was like, I don't know what the fuck we're going to do with it. Let's see what other people are saying. Oh, that's good. Let's put that in. So it was like a choose your own adventure, but the fans didn't know it was actually happening.
It's like a game of D&D in a sense, right?
Yeah, a little
like you
bit,
come up with some good ideas and you don't really know where it's going to go, but you don't need to because the players are going to take it in some direction anyway. So you just kind of wait and see what happens.
And then like pretty much all those campaigns, it reaches a point where it becomes ludicrous and everybody loses interest. Nobody wants to play anymore.
Yeah, no theme. Yeah, no accomplishment, no climatic ending to a
just
story.
All sort of just fucking fizzles out. Yeah,
that's why after about 10 years of playing, I totally rearranged how I was doing that, and it made it a lot better.
Like you drove it to the story to an end point, and then that was it, and everybody roll up new characters, and we're going again. Kind of thing?
No, just the stories would have their beginnings, their climax, and their endings, and then you go on to another story, right? But it was story orientated, and you could string the stories together like chapters in a book. And there was some overarching themes.
Well, that's probably where the concept of like the module came from, right? It was sort of that same thing.
Well, the module was basically in the beginning. It was an example of what you did with the shit that you had, right? Like here's how you put this stuff together. You draw a dungeon, and then you do an overland and an underland, and you populate it and stuff. Some of the first ones for basic tell you how to do that and leave blanks for you to put your own monsters in, how to stock a dungeon with traps, treasures, and monsters, and then how to put flavor text and key a dungeon and stuff like that. Basically, the first modules was just examples of this is how you play D&D. This is what you're doing.
I always looked at modules as like interactive comic books.
Yeah.
You know,
later on, they became more like
collateral.
That.
You know, you had all the pictures and the character sheets, and you had all of that kind of stuff. So it was just like, it was so easy. Let's just grab a module, boom, get together, and we're playing.
Yeah,
you know,
especially if you could have the pre-generated characters in most modules, just give them to the people that show up,
and everybody can just play.
Yeah,
and then it's a one and done.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Scientists claim to have recreated the Earth's first life, Mr. Smith.
Well, okay, so this is interesting
From
because
futurism.
They've been doing this for a really long time, like since the 60s. They've at least known the constituent components of life, and they've done experiments where they'll put certain compounds into a jar, and they'll hit it with electricity and stuff, and try to recreate the atmosphere of early Earth and various things.
Okay.
So there was
there's nothing surprising about this.
Well,
to you?
there might be. There was a breakthrough about 4 or 5 years ago where they were able to get long carbon chains by shaking in a certain way.
Oh yeah, it was like a rocking motion caused them to knot up, or something like that. That's right. We covered that.
Maybe we did. Yeah.
Fuck, dude, it's getting bad. We can't remember this shit. Done so many of these.
So maybe this is something.
Or maybe you were just telling me that it was quantum foam.
Yeah.
Quantum foam.
Good insulation.
It's good shit. A team of scientists believe they have recreated the biochemical processes that gave rise to the earliest forms of life on Earth. Look, I've seen the alien, resurrection, whatever the fucking latest one was, and it was because that guy drank that black liquid.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's what it was. What do they call them? They had
engineers.
Names for them. The engineers, yeah. Researchers from the University of Duisburg, Essen, recreated recreated the harsh conditions deep within the Earth's crust as it existed some 3.8 billion years ago, which is where they suspect life began. Under those conditions, they say they managed to create and destroy 1,500 vesicles, bubble-like biological structures, similar to a cell's membrane, over a period of 2 weeks. The work described in a book the duo will publish next month could shed vital new light into exactly how life began. And developed if it holds up under scientific scrutiny.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
We are on the cutting edge with that article.
Yeah, a little bit, a little premature.
But to bring to the point of what they're saying is, which is different from the last article we were talking about, apparently they found a way to make what would be the outside of a cell, the skeletal structure.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the big innovations in life, was that the DNA and shit could be inside that cell, and it could potentially be like a shield and a barrier, and it could protect it, and it could move around. Like some of them develop filaments and stuff. So that was one of the constituent components you would need to be able to find a way to develop these structures that contained life inside in the beginnings of life. So it's kind of cool in that sense, I guess. If it's true.
If it's holds up under scientific scrutiny, and if
yeah. Those are big ifs, man. Scientific scrutiny is
belly at the same time. New measurements suggest we have made a fundamental error about the universe. God damn it, Mr. Smith.
Fundamental.
Everything is wrong.
It could be.
Fundamental means everything, right? It means like root level type shit, like big deal.
Man, are they going to tell me?
It's from the Independent.
That'd be like fundamental would be like gravity. And
that's a big deal.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. Gravity's actually two forces. I don't know why I'm saying that. Like I heard that.
It's like cheese and pizza is what it is.
It's like the cheese on the pizza.
Two forces.
Scientists have long been grappling with problems with the Hubble Constant, which measures the rate the universe is expanding.
Yeah, I could give a real quick recap on that.
Let's do it, baby.
About 1993, Saul Perlmutter was heading a team where he was studying Cepheid varied stars, Type 1A and supernovas and stuff like that.
That's a badass. Anybody named Perlmutter?
Saul Perlmutter.
He's going to have like a giant pirate earring and a scimitar and a BMW. Like he's...
Yeah, 1993, and they were doing calculations, and they discovered that not only was the universe accelerating or expanding, but it was getting faster and faster. It was accelerating. And that's when the whole idea of dark energy started coming out from 93 on with their discovery. They're
like, what's feeding that?
Yeah. And they didn't know, but the measurements they were doing with those particular kinds of stars and supernova was key to understanding that it was accelerating faster and faster.
Okay, good deal. So they don't know why it's doing it, so they called it dark matter because
dark energy.
Dark energy.
Yeah.
Okay. And dark meaning that they don't know what the fuck
we
it
don't
is.
know.
Not that it's like black or absolute light or whatever.
Yeah, just some mysterious energy pushing things apart.
A new set of measurements suggests that we may have made a mistake about the fundamental nature of the universe. Researchers have found. Didn't want to burp straight into the mic.
Oh, and real quick,
I had buffalo chicken wings tonight, baby.
Ooh.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah.
Before Saul Perlmutter, there was, of course, Professor Hubble, who famously left photograph slides or negatives in film in a telescope when he went on vacation for like a weekend. He saw stuff beyond our galaxy for the first time. Okay, so like as far as we knew before that, there was just the galaxy. There wasn't like a universe, but we knew we lived in a galaxy, right? That was the first time that we seen other galaxies.
Oh yeah, that's right. They thought everything past that was just empty.
Yeah,
and it was just.
And then they found out there was billions of galaxies, right? But the first ones they seen were on his slides because the exposure was so long it actually brightened up enough where you could see them. And they noticed that when they used spectrometry to measure the light, that it was all redshifted, meaning that the light coming from those objects was elongated into the red spectrum as opposed to compressed into the blue, meaning that it was traveling away at great speed. So, and the further away an object was, the more redshifted it was, meaning that it was expanding faster on the outside. Then in 93... So for a long time, between that time and 93, there was a big argument as to whether or not things were going to just continue to expand into nothingness, or if there would be what was called the big crunch, where gravity would pull shit back together.
Like everything's going to go
right.
Just keep doing this sort of
exactly, or if it's just going to spread out like an explosion, right? So they started trying to measure how much mass was in the universe so they could calculate the gravity to see if there was going to be enough gravity to pull the mass back together. That's when they started studying things like neutrinos. And somewhere like in 93, 94, there was a scientific experiment set up outside of a nuclear reactor where they were looking for neutrinos.
Tachyon particles. No.
Neutrinos.
Okay.
Because tachyons are the ones supposed to travel faster than light. But they wanted to know if neutrinos had mass.
I only said that as a Star Trek reference. I didn't realize that that's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a theoretical particle that's supposed to travel faster than light. Like some particles are vector particles traveling at the speed of light. But there's
Geordi LaForge did a lot of shit with them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
But they ended up finding out that neutrinos had mass, and they did more calculations. But anyways, in 93... they came up with other calculations that said that it doesn't matter how much mass is in the universe. It's expanding faster and faster. It's definitely not going to come back into a big crunch. And now this.
Researchers have found yet more evidence that our measure of the Hubble Constant, which represents radiation, is very wrong. The new findings come after research used a set of radio telescopes to create new, precise measurements of the rate at which the universe is expanding. But they found there was a discrepancy between the previously measured value of the Hubble constant and the value that is predicted by the model that comes from the cosmic microwave background radiation from the Planck Satellite.
So
Max Planck.
Yeah, at first there was
Super
WMAP.
tiny shit.
At first there was WMAP, and then there was Planck Satellite, and both of them measured the cosmic microwave background radiation, which is the heat left over from the Big Bang. And that was first discovered by these AT&T guys that built this big antenna for AT&T.
And accidentally tried to start World War III with it.
No, there was like a band frequency which was providing static, and they couldn't figure out where the hell it was coming from. No matter where they aimed it at, there was like this static. So they thought it was the equipment, and they checked all that. Nope, it was working perfectly. They even got down to where they thought it was these doves, these birds that had built nests inside, so they cleaned that all out. Turns out they were reading the heat signature from the big birth of the universe, and that you were never going to get rid of that.
It's a constant.
Yeah.
So build a filter.
Yeah. And that's what the cosmic microwave background radiation is, that was first visualized by WMAP and then later this satellite to a much larger degree.
Is it Brian Greene? He's English. Younger guy,
I know
physicist.
He is. Yeah.
Is that his name, Brian Greene?
I believe so. Yeah.
I seen an interview with him one time where he was in they were like having a debate about the Big Bang Theory or Big Bang, not the TV show, and somebody was talking about it's a theory, and he's like he stopped him and he goes, no, he's like, it's not a theory. It's literally, you can fucking see it. It's not
Yeah.
a theory.
Yeah.
It's right there. Like, we can totally see it. So you can't say it's a theory anymore.
What's the problem with it is that when you look at the microwave background radiation and you compare the homogeny of how it looks with the way that the universe is spaced out,
Right.
they can't explain how that worked, right? Still, right. So they know.
Well, they can't explain it without bending the laws of physics to do so, right?
Yes, and the guy that did that was Alan Guth, and he came up with a part of that theory of the Big Bang Theory that was called inflation. And it was a point at which, right after the birth of the universe, when it exploded from that singularity, that it actually traveled faster than light, the only time in the universe, and then somehow stopped. So there's no explanation for how it did it or how it stopped. But if that happened, that would explain how it looks now when we're looking at it. But without that explanation, we don't know how it got from that to this very clearly at all. So that's what people will poke at when they say it's just a theory. They'll bring out Alan Guth's inflation a lot of times and say, look, nothing in the universe travels faster than the speed of light. How could that have happened? And if it did happen, how did it stop?
Yeah, but we're kind of past that point, right? We know things travel faster than the speed of light. Quantum entangled things, information can travel faster than the speed of light.
But this would have
So you can't say nothing can travel faster than the speed of light anymore.
And then, of course,
right?
there's the tachyon particles, which are theoretical particles. Yeah, so, I mean, it's not an unfounded theory, inflation isn't. I mean, he did the math. He's not a dumb guy or nothing. And I don't.
I guess not.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree.
Parts of universities after
Maybe
him.
so. I don't know.
Just saying.
But no. I mean, you're right. There is some evidence that points to the possibility that it could happen. They just haven't mathed it out to people's satisfaction yet.
It says that suggests there may indeed be something wrong with the standard model we use to describe the fundamental nature of the universe. For years, scientists have grasped with that potential problem and wondered whether it was the result of mismeasurement or something more profoundly wrong with the model itself. Quote, we find that galaxies are nearer than predicted by the standard model of cosmology, corroborating a problem identified in other types of distance measurements. There have been debate over whether this problem lies in the model itself or if the measurements used to test it. Our work uses a distance measurement technique completely independent from all others, and we reinforce the disparity between measured and predicted values. It is likely that the basic cosmological model involved in the predictions is the problem, said James Bratz of the National Radio Astronomy Observatory. Well, I bet he knows what he's fucking talking about. The new measurements were in line with previous measurements, suggesting those were correct, but notably different from the value predicted by modeling. Quote, our measurement of the Hubble Constant is very close to other recent measurements and statistically very different from the predictions based on the CMB and the standard cosmological model. All indications are that the standard model needs revision, said Bratz. Well, that was a long way to get there.
Yeah.
He's very what do you call it, thorough. There are a variety of ways that the model could be adjusted to attempt to resolve the differences. This could include alterations to the way we understand dark energy, differences in our model of particle physics, or even more exotic possibilities. Ooh, now we're getting into the good stuff.
Yeah, so the model of particle physics would be things like vacuum particles expanding space, and then the more exotic possibilities would be things like the tachyons and stuff.
Okay, now they're going to tell me something that I'm not even going to... Okay. Predictions of the Hubble constant from models suggest that it should be about 67.4 per second per megaparsec.
I can make the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Where's the Millennium Falcon? That is derived by looking at the leftover radiation from the Big Bang and using our standard cosmological model of the universe.
So see, this is what they're saying. They're looking at the cosmic background radiation, as I said, what cosmic, the SCBM is what they were calling it, right? They're looking at that, and the homogeny of that, and they're looking at the measurements that's done with like Cepheid variance, because we use parallaxis and then lasers and then other methods, and eventually we get out to doing the type 1a supernovas for measuring distances.
Okay.
So we have these different methods. They've came up with something else.
And they're saying that their measurement method is more accurate or something, right?
Yeah, but it was very close to the normal.
Now the models will have to be adjusted because there's new data. There's new...
Yeah.
And if those adjustments may fix some shit.
It's starting to be another exciting time in astronomy.
All of a sudden.
Physics, yeah.
Says, but most measurements of the Hubble Constant, which uses techniques such as standard candles, which looks at the
type one, yeah.
Yeah, it looks at the brightness of objects to understand how far away they are, have produced readings of about 73 to 74 megaparsecs per decimeter or whatever. The latest research used radio telescopes and novel techniques to understand the Hubble Constant with even more precision. They came up with a value of 73.9. Okay. We're down to a tenth of a megaparsec. That's it? That's the fucking article?
We got some new measurements. Things might be wrong. We're not sure.
We're going to have to run all this shit through the standard model thinkometer. Big think. They're going to go build big think.
Big think and deep thought. And then Earth.
What was the answer to life, universe, and everything?
42?
It was 42. Not 7. It might have been 73.9.
Yeah. Atoms could have been correct.
Just saying. Researchers teleport quantum information between two microchips using quantum entanglement. Boop. I just said that.
That sounds really good for quantum computing, doesn't it?
Shit about cookie settings. Well, this is a big fucking deal, man, because that's instantaneous. That means no latency. That means like
teleport.
That means crazy. Researchers at DTU Photonic. I'm
guessing.
I'm going to go with photonic. Have successfully teleported information between two microchips by using a quantum mechanical entanglement of the two photons. The researchers bypassed the classic method of data transfer, where you send an information-bearing photon between two chips. Instead, they teleported information from one silicon chip to another, utilizing a quantum mechanical entangled photon pair. Photons connected in an entangled quantum state know each other's characteristics at any time. A change in state in one immediately results in a similar change in the other one. This peculiar relationship can be used to exchange quantum information between the locations where the entangled photons are sent. In the long run, this approach could one day be used to develop commercially secure internet connections.
Spooky movement at a distance.
Remember quantum radar?
Yeah.
Where the aircraft has no idea that it's actually being hit by radar because it just hucks a fucking photon out there, and as soon as it hits something, the other one goes ding.
Yep.
And it goes, there's something over there. Even today, quantum physics can be employed to send very secretive messages that no other party can be privy to. No more stealing your dick pics, Mr. Smith.
Oh, thank goodness.
I know, it's getting out of hand.
It was. Everybody had one.
Yeah, everybody. The technology is still in its infancy, but that hasn't stopped companies from offering equipment for quantum mechanical exchange of encryption keys. That makes sense too, right? Because like those little fob things. You can just like hit a button and a randomly generated code of who you're trying to connect to, and it puts the encrypted tunnel together
immediately.
And
quantum tunneling.
It's all very See, that's the technical shit right there. I make it like it's so simple. In these cases, however, a direct optical fiber link is needed between the two parties wanting to send secret messages. This means there are physical limitations to how long such a link can be.
Hey, what is this little fibers thing here?
Let's eat it.
For users hundreds of kilometers apart, the distance issues can be solved for the use of a so-called trusted node. However, this is not without setbacks. It makes the connection slower, more expensive, and less secure. A safer, more reliable infrastructure for quantum communication between a large number of users is needed. This is where researchers' recent demonstrations of chip-to-chip quantum teleportation comes in. All right, okay, I get what it's doing. It's a chip that makes I'm not going to go super deep in this. The implications here, though, is fantastic because how long does it take us to get a message from like the furthest Voyager satellite now? Like Mars is something like 22 minutes, isn't it?
And the sun is 8 light minutes away.
This means that satellites, anything that's traveling super, super far distances and things could give us information instantly.
This also means an end to the calculations needed to be performed because gravitational wells and speed making time dilation.
Right.
Yeah, they won't need that.
Won't need that anymore either.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's going to like pinpoint you in a place and time on the map pretty effectively.
Yes, all those
quantum GPS.
All of those sci-fi films that came out, you know, where everybody goes into cryostasis, and then they wake up and they've got like, you know, their newborn baby is now in college, sending them messages, but you know the kid's actually 50 already or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and they're just getting anyway. All of that becomes bullshit because you just be able to pick up the phone, and go, "Hey, Junior, I'm awake."
Yeah.
Be like, "Hey, I'm old." Scientists say you could charge batteries using Eric's humidity.
Yes, that's right. My love humidity.
Your love humidity. Cold air humidity may be the next renewable energy source.
That's right.
Could air.
Could
humidity.
air.
Not cold air. Could air.
Could air humidity.
Victor Tangerman.
I feel like there's plenty of it in Ohio.
Anyway.
Tangerman.
Researchers from Tel Aviv University have found that water vapor in the atmosphere has the potential to become a viable source of renewable energy.
Hey, you know what I just figured out? What? All this water vapor.
Sherfood's going to love this one, Ramon. He's got this he's got this big belief that you can mine energy from just like the ether.
Well, that's kind of what Tesla was talking about to some
For sure.
degree.
Yeah, and there's another one of them big ass Tesla coils now in Texas. And they're like, you can drive up and it's like, what do you guys do? And they're like, we're an energy company. It's like, whoa, okay. So they're up to something. So far, the voltage generated in their experiment is extremely low, but if it scales up, they say the phenomenon could be used to charge batteries.
It is extremely low if you're scaling up is going to get AA batteries. 1.5 volts. Okay, cool.
And AA battery is 1.5 volts, or maybe practical applications in the future,
for your
to
remote
develop
control.
batteries, that can be charged from the water vapor in the air. Colin Price, researcher at Tel Aviv University Porter School of Environment and Earth Sciences, and co-author of a paper about the research published in the journal Nature last month, said in a statement, the basic natural phenomenon behind their discovery is why lightning occurs in nature. Right, storing up shit tons of electrons in one spot and an absence in another. And eventually, it tries to balance itself out when it gets enough, difference of potential.
Hey, turn on the humidifier. My phone's about dead.
Yeah, can I go just throw it in the toilet? Electricity in thunderstorms is generated only by water in its different phases. Water vapor, water droplets, and ice, Price said. 20 minutes of cloud development is how we get from water droplets. Scientists discover water is very
special molecule.
Blah, 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 blah. The air could eventually be used for green energy. Could. Yeah, okay. So that's a no wonder we were like, I don't know.
Again, on the cutting edge. Ride the lightning on the cutting edge
on the bleeding
with
edge.
Tangerman.
I'm more turned on by supercaps than, there's been a lot of really cool shit happening recently, especially in battery technology. Because, I'm a nerd and I follow all of this shit like on Instagram and stuff. But the supercaps, the graphene supercaps and stuff that's happening in graphene is what's really got me turned on. Because that's a big fucking deal. Like if you could charge a car battery, for like a Tesla, the battery, the primary drive, you can fucking charge these things in like 20, 30 seconds.
Jeez.
And it has no cycle limitation. It doesn't have chemicals in it. It's 100% inert. Like you just throw it in a landfill. It's just made out of carbon.
Just pour energy into it and go.
Just go. Yeah.
Like
that's got me fucking turned on.
It's like a Zika battery in Memphis.
I was listening to the last show. We were talking about those hydrogen boron reactors or whatever. And somebody commented on those. I can't remember what they said. Panacea kind of thing. Probably still just, we said that on the show that we thought it was going to be could turn out to just be another panacea.
A naysayer.
How dare they? Not on this show. No critical thinkers
Not on
here.
my watch.
No.
Y'all fuckers just gonna do what I tell you.
No. No. Not going to happen. All right, man. That's a good chunk of articles.
Yeah,
for
we
tonight.
made it through those.
Well, we had a plan. It's just kind of fucking unusual for you and me.
The
it's-
best made plan.
As much as a plan can be, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Trying to think if there was anything else I had to talk about. I can't remember. I don't think so.
Hey, Neil accepted my
Friend
friendship
request.
Yes.
Yeah.
I need to get a hold of him and talk to him and let him know that I'm not terribly evil.
I don't think anybody, but well, yeah, maybe. Yeah, never mind.
I mean, I do have some ex-wives.
How many?
Some
Some.
few.
Couple.
More than a few.
All
Four.
of my exes live in Ohio.
That's unfortunate.
I seen it
One
said,
lives in Pennsylvania.
if you could get rid of one state or destroy one state to end coronavirus, which state would it be and why Ohio? And then I also seen it that it was the same thing, and it said, but it was music. Which genre of music would you get rid of and why country music?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a turn on the same.
All my Texas lives in X's.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
All my taxes live with axes. Where
I
would
mean,
you go
I've
with
got a fairly good working relationship with my exes.
this? You do.
Yeah, nobody's trying to kill anyone or hates anyone or anything.
Well, that's what's ironic, when you say, I'm really not a bad guy. Like, I don't know anybody that hates you, including your ex-wives.
Yeah, well,
You're a pretty nice guy.
I'm trying.
You do a good job. You do. All right, then we'll wrap up there.
Yeah, hey, wrap up on being a nice guy.
Nice guy, Mr. Eric.
Woo.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody. Check us out at www.noshitcast.com. It's KNOWSHITCAST.com. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Leave us a message. We might get back to you. Give us a share. We'd greatly appreciate it. And we will catch you all next time. Thanks for listening, everyone. Dun, 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 dun.